In this video, I wanted to compare the Velotric Nomad 1 to the new and improved Velotric Nomad 2. I feel like this thing comes jam-packed with a lot of cool, new upgraded features that this doesn't offer you, but I still think they're nice, solid products. Velotric makes some sweet e-bikes, so I'll put a link to both of them in the description below. So starting off with some of the similarities, these are both fat tire e-bikes. They both come with 8-speed trigger shifters on them, and they both have a 750 watt motor, but I do know that the Nomad 2 peaks out at 1300 watts, which is a lot of power. And that's basically where all the similarities end, because when it comes to the rest of the specs, I feel like this bike just does it a little bit better than their old version. Taking a look at the Nomad 2 front suspension, it has 100 millimeters of travel, whereas the old version only has 80 millimeters of travel, so this should be a little bit smoother of a ride for you. I personally notice a big difference with the new upgraded forks. The suspension feels buttery smooth, and it just compresses so nicely. It just has such a great feel to it when you're going over top of bumps, so I love that new upgrade. Also, speaking of that comfort, this one has a suspension seat post actually to make the ride smoother, and the seat is larger and feels a little bit more squishy, so I bet this will be a little bit more comfortable than their old version, which doesn't have that suspension seat post, and the seat itself is a little bit smaller. One thing that I feel like Velotric does a great job with all their e-bikes is the ergonomics. I love the swept-back handlebars, and both of these have it, but the one advantage you get with the Nomad 2 is it actually has an adjustable stem, so you can raise the handlebars up a little higher, tilt them down lower, just to get it fitting more properly for you. The rotors on the Nomad 2 are slightly bigger than the Nomad 1, so your braking capabilities should be a little bit more improved on this one. And then taking a look at the frame design, the new one looks slightly different than the old version. I actually think the new one looks sleeker, it has better contours, but not only does the design look cool, it's also more functional, whereas this has a load capacity of over 500 pounds, whereas this one is only like 400 some. So this one can accommodate larger, heavier riders. I also like the new paint colors that the Nomad 2 comes with. I got this one in sage, and I think it just looks crispy. The battery placement is going to be different on both of these e-bikes. The Nomad 1, it comes placed on the top, whereas the Nomad 2 is underneath it. And I personally think underneath the e-bike looks a little bit more stylish, but I think the functionality is a little bit easier on the Nomad 1. To pop your battery in and out is pretty simple when it's just straight overhead, versus this one you have to turn the wheel to make sure you're not bumping into your fender every time you take the battery in and out. Another nice touch about the Nomad 2 is it automatically includes a rear rack, whereas the Nomad 1 doesn't. You'd have to purchase that separately, whereas this is just bundled in the original price. And that's another thing that I want to talk about is the price of these two products. At the time of this recording, the Nomad 2 is listed at $19.99, whereas the Velotric Nomad 1 is listed at $13.99. I couldn't remember the price off the top of my head, but that's a $600 difference right now. And so I feel like if you want to save some money, the Nomad 1 would be a solid choice for you, because this still is a nice performing e-bike. It's a fat tire and it has good specs on it, but if you want to invest in that $600 difference or upgrade, then I feel like this will offer you a lot better features. So I actually think that new price is justifiable for what this jam packs with it. A few other differences about the Nomad 2 is it has integrated lights into it, a front headlight and a tail light, whereas the Nomad 1 only has a front headlight, and then it just has this dinky battery-powered rear tail light, which I don't like these. I love it when the lights are fully integrated into the e-bike. That way I don't have to replace the battery or charge this. It can just be charged by the bike itself. So this is definitely an advantage, having rear taillights integrated into the wiring system. But also a nice thing about these lights is it has blinkers, so you can put on your turn signals. It also has brake light indicators. When you squeeze your brakes, they're gonna glow brighter. The lights also will turn on with auto dimming capabilities, so they're kind of like smart lights. And I just feel like that is a much better setup than the old version. Another big improvement about the Nomad 2 is all the technology upgrades. This pairs with the Find My app, the Apple Health app. Velotric also has their own app that you can sync it with to track your mileage, upgrade your firmware, change different settings on there. So this has a lot better technology built into it versus the Nomad 1 doesn't come with anything like that. I also feel like changing the settings in the screen display is so much easier on the Nomad 2 versus the Nomad 1. This is laid out so much nicer. You can read all the words and understand what you're changing on it. And you can change things like the top speed level. You can go all the way up to 28 miles an hour or all the way down to 12 miles an hour. So you can customize your ride depending on who's riding it or how fast you want to go. Another big difference between these two products is actually the riding performance. With the Nomad 1, it just comes with a standard cadence sensor, which that works good. It brings you up to your set speed level and then just keeps you there no matter how hard or softly you're pedaling. So that's just how a cadence sensor works and operates. But with the Nomad 2, it actually comes with sensor swap technology, which means you can choose whether you want it to be a cadence sensor or a torque sensor, so it actually gives you that flexibility. So you can choose to ride this like this one with a cadence sensor where it will just bring you up to speed and then just keep you there. I find that setting to be nice when you're going on long commutes. That way you don't have to exert a lot of energy, but you can rely on the power of the cadence sensor to just bring you up to speed. Whereas you can also change it to a torque sensor, which that is going to be way more adaptive. So if you pedal harder, you'll go faster, and if you pedal softer, you'll go slower. So that's more of a natural feeling ride. So sometimes when I'm out with friends or family, that's the kind of ride I'm trying to achieve. I don't want to just be flying ahead of them with my cadence sensor, but I want to be able to adapt and slow down and speed up. So oftentimes I feel like most people like riding in that torque sensor setting, but it's nice that it gives you the ability to flop back and forth between the two. Also, you can get a way more customizable riding experience with this as well. It has 15 different pedal assist levels. It has eco, trail, and boost mode. And then in every one of those modes, it has 5 different pedal assist levels, which gives you a total of 15 different choices. So you're able to find the perfect fit for you when it comes to how you like to ride. Whereas the old version, it just has 5 different pedal assist levels, which all work good and is nice, but this just gives you more capabilities if you want it. I feel like that actually makes it way more versatile to more people, because if you're looking for a cadence sensor and you want to ride it in eco mode to get you better mileage, you can do that. Or if you want to ride it in trail mode and go off-roading and have a torque sensor to be able to control how fast and slow you're going, you can do that. Whereas this one is kind of just geared towards one specific type of person, whoever wants a cadence sensor and whoever wants 5 different pedal assist levels. So this should accommodate to a lot more spectrum of riders. This e-bike is also rated IPX6 and the battery itself is rated IPX7, so you can easily spray this down with a hose, wipe it down, drive it in the rain, ride it out in the snow, which I've done, and it's going to be fine. You won't get any water damage with this. I don't know specifically about the Nomad 1. This is the Nomad 1, but they also have a Nomad 1 Plus, and I think the Plus version might come with the upgraded IPX ratings. This one I don't believe does, but I think their Nomad 1 Plus does, so I don't know, you might need to look into that one. Oh, also with the riding experience, this one has a more peppy upfront torque to it than this one. This one's more of a gradual takeoff and it slowly brings you up to speed more comfortably and naturally, whereas this one feels pretty zippy right when you're accelerating on this. So that is one difference I notice about the actual riding performance. But an also difference with this one is it actually has more torque with it though. So this one has 90 Newton meters of torque with it. Now the last slight upgrade with the Nomad 2 is I think it offers you a little bit better mileage with it compared to the old version, so you can get slightly more range on your battery, and you can choose how you want to ride this to actually extend your battery life. So if you want to be in eco mode, if you want to be in the torque sensor, there's different things you can do to preserve your battery life when you're riding this one, versus this one you're kind of locked into your throttle or you're just pedaling it in whatever pedal assist level. So your battery I think is slightly less performance than this one, but honestly they're very comparable. It's honestly dependent on how large you are, how hard you're riding these e-bikes. Do you go up and down a lot of hills, all those things will dictate your actual mileage, but I feel like they do a pretty good job. I've rode these around all my neighborhood and stuff, and both of them I feel like are fine when it comes to the range. So those are all the main differences that I noticed between these two e-bikes. Again, I feel like this just comes with way better specs and way better features that are actually tangible, improved differences that I notice compared to the Nomad 1. I will say this though, I love the Nomad 1. If I never was introduced to this e-bike, then I would be happy all day long with this. So if you want to save some money and still get a solid e-bike, I think this is still a great choice for you. It actually beats a lot of its competitors. But if you just want to spend the extra money and get an e-bike that basically is your one-stop shop for everything you need, then I think the Nomad 2 is a no-brainer. This thing is just awesome. I love all the specs on it. This is probably going to be my new daily rider from this point out until I can find something that beats it, honestly, because this thing is just meets all my expectations of what I'm looking for. So I don't know, I'm pumped about it. Hopefully this comparison helped you just decide and understand what changes they made to the new version. So there it is. Thanks for watching, and hopefully this video helped you out. Have a nice day.